This is Political Arena in Platform Media International, PMI. I'm yours sincerely, Joe Ehizode. In a few months' time, Liberians will be going to the polls as we prepare for the exit of the President Ellen C.F. Johnson after 12 years, and Liberians are going to the polls. You remember, viewers, that 12 years ago, the Liberia's most popular person in the name of George Oponwea contested against President Johnson, and they had a runoff. And thereafter, President Johnson emerged as the winner. And since then, George Oponwea has gone underground, and now he's the senator. He became a senator 2 years ago, and now he's trying to come back to the coveted seat he lost 12 years ago. And I have in the studio my very good friend, is an activist with a slant in Liberian politics, my friend Jerry Gbardy. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Joe. It's always my pleasure to be on your show.
Jerry, there's no person that has authority to speak on Liberian politics than you around this locality. And I know that you are versed in that. As a matter of fact, I understand that you are very much interested in what's happening back home. What is going on? George Oponwea is back, and I can see a lot of opposition from the mainstream politicians in Liberia. I can mention one, Dr. Fambule, if I got that correct, right?
Yeah, yes, Dr. Fambule.
I understand he is the interior minister to the current president. He was one time a lecturer and all that, but he has been a very serious critic of Oponwea. The last time I read him, he said Oponwea is unfit to be president. So why is George Oponwea being hated by the centrists in Liberia?
Thank you, Joe. Look, one thing that is very certain is that George Weah did not pass through the corridors of Liberian politics. George Weah did not go through the University of Liberia, that is seen as the ground where young militants grow. They go there and they are groomed by the likes of Dr. H. Berman Fambule, Dr. Amos Sawyer, and all the other professors. So if you come from outside of that arena and you stand out, they don't like you.
So
because you know what?
University in Liberia, is that Furabe College?
No, Furabe is in Sierra Leone. University of Liberia is in Monrovia, Liberia.
Yes.
Okay, now, my argument is, of course, I wrote an article rebutting Fambule's statement, which appeared in the Ghanaian newspaper today. I just got an information that is in there. If you want, I can give you the link later on so you can see it. My argument is that, look, Fambule started when we were still in elementary school, high school, when they were Lord and Gospel over Liberian politics. They challenged the Americo-Liberian oligarchy. The Americo-Liberian oligarchy had only one ruling party, which was the True Whig Party. So to come from the indigenous stock and challenge them, I say hats off to the likes of Fambule, hats off to Amos Sawyer, hats off to the late G. Bacchus Matthew. They created the awareness when we were growing up. But at a certain point in life, there must be a time for you to call it a quit. These guys are supposed to do what? Go to the University of Liberia or create a think tank that young Liberian political aspirants will go to them and seek their knowledge.
Okay, Jerry, let's take this. You just mentioned something. I know that there's a serious schism between the so-called indigenous Liberians and American Liberians. And you just mentioned now that the likes of Dr. Fambule do not like people who do not grow up from University of Liberia to come into power. But I guess from your argument, what you are saying, Dr. Fambule, given that, is supposed to be on the side of Oponwea. Where is that disconnect?
Yeah, well, the disconnect from their own perspective is that because we consider them the progressives, because in the 70s, they created an awareness. They made us to love politics, to challenge the American Liberian establishment. Now, coming to this time, Famulé lost all political relevance. Number one, he went to Libya instead of being a Democrat, instead of being a civilian, he went to Libya with Charles Taylor. They took training, military training. Famulé had his own group that was, because Charles Taylor beat him to the punch. He had his own group that wanted to invade Liberia before Charles Taylor did. Okay. So his forces were in Freetown. So I think they lost their own political relevance because the now generation of Liberians do not know who they are. It's only people like us who grew up during their era, we know who they are. But they do not command the political respect that they once enjoyed before. They do not enjoy it these days. Therefore, when I see someone like George Weah, who's been playing soccer, who then grow up under them, who is now one of their proteges, to come and be loved by the majority of the Liberian people, the young people, to love George Weah, they don't like it. It's all envy and jealousy.
Okay, back to that. Let's clear this up because people are watching need to know. Ellen Johnson belonged to what you call the
from Bomi County, she's part Gola.
Let's be politically correct or incorrect a little bit. She is also part of the American Liberians, so to say, right?
Yes, I would say she got too much orientation, too much training from the American Liberian. Yeah,
exactly. Because she was in the World Bank before she became president.
Right? Yeah, and she worked for the Tubman government. She worked for Tolbert government. And then Tolbert was overthrown. Samuel Doe let her in. Samuel Doe did not execute her. She was Minister of Finance under Tolbert when the government...
Even the family we are talking about was also a member of the government of...
No. Famulé's dad, his father, was an ambassador.
Okay,
under William V.S. Tubman.
Okay.
And according to history, according to books that we read, according to Famulé's own admission, his own statement, his dad was arrested on
treason.
Treason.
Yes.
Thrown in jail.
Yeah.
And Famulé was young at that time. He attended the trial, and he was also incarcerated with his dad because he used to be a very militant young activist.
Yes.
So then he went and graduated, and when he came back, in the early 70s, they founded what they called the Movement for Justice in Africa, MOJA.
Yeah.
So Famulé was not working in the government. He was a university professor, and they founded this political organization called MOJA. Now, they were conscientizing young Liberians like us when Samuel Doe took over. His first ministerial job that he got was Minister of Education under Samuel Doe.
Yes.
And then when Bacchus Matthew, who was also in the other opposition camp, who founded PAL, the Progressive Alliance of Liberia, Bacchus Matthew was foreign minister under Doe. Okay. But when he fell out with Doe, Doe fired him. Then he replaced him with Famulé. Famulé came from education minister to foreign minister. Foreign minister.
Yes. Okay.
But right now, his current position is, he is National Security Advisor to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
Okay, now, if the indigenous people are crying to have power, because after Samuel Doe was executed, Charles Taylor came up, Ellen Johnson came up, and I guess the indigenous people will say they want power now too, because they are not being represented. Famulé is the same stuff with openwear. Why is he criticizing openwear? That's what I'm asking.
Because he's running to be president also.
Oh, he wants to.
He wants to be president. You see, the Movement for Justice in Africa, MOJA, which was founded in 1973 by Famulé, Dr. Sawyer, Dr. Famulé, and Dr. Tipote at the University of Liberia, it morphed into a political party during the Samuel Doe era. Yeah. They allow it to register as a political party, which then became the Liberia People's Party. But Doe banned it in 1985 before the election. Okay, so all the progressives were banned. Famulé left the country, and he lived in exile. That's where the anger came from, and he went to Libya to do military training.
Now, the criticism leveled against the participation of openwear in politics, that he's not educated, is that true?
Opong is educated.
Because I know that he attended.
He went to DeVry University.
After he lost that election
in 2005.
He went back
to school.
Yes.
He went back to school, got his bachelor's, and then he got master's. So between 2005 and 2011, where the second election was held, because the Liberia's election is after every 6 years. So from 2005 to 2011, there was another election. Opong did not go as presidential candidate. He went as vice presidential candidate on the nephew of the late President William V. Tubman. So he's Councillor Winston Tubman, who became the standard bearer of the CDC, which is the Congress for Democratic Change, which Opong is the standard bearer. At that, he's currently the standard bearer of that party, which merged with 3 other parties. Now it is called the Coalition for Democratic Change. So Tubman was the standard bearer. Senator Weah at that time was he was not a senator, but he was ambassador for the United Nations, UNICEF. UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador.
Okay, so now the course is clear because Weah did not succeed as vice president in 2011. Now he wants to contest. Is the standard bearer. So he is contesting in the October elections, correct?
That's correct.
So the other issue they are having against him is that he doesn't reside in Liberia. He lives in Accra, Ghana. So
no.
I know that he owns a home in Ghana. Right?
Exactly. Look, all those are just propaganda, anti-Weah propaganda that is being pushed over there by people who know that he is popular, but they don't want him to be president. They think because he did not go through the corridors of the University of Liberia, he's not trained as one of the young militants. What dare him come out to say he want to be president of Liberia now? That is where all this anger and jealousy and envy is coming from.
Jerry, of course, you know that nothing comes easy. If you want to be president of a country, you have to
exactly
a lot of barriers.
Oh yeah, and he's crossing those barriers.
These criticisms, these oppositions are legitimate as long as
some of them are not legitimate. Some of them are just a figment of somebody's imagination, like lying and saying he is a resident of Ghana. Look, when Liberia was going through turmoil during the Civil War, when Weah was playing for Paris Saint-Germain, from Paris Saint-Germain to AC Milan, he was the source of joy for Liberians in the country and outside of the country. Ghana had a huge population of Liberians in a refugee camp. So he would go to Ghana, and every time he arrived in Ghana, it was like, Jesus Christ has arrived.
Okay.
And he's so much, caring that he used to take care of them.
Well, let me just attest to that because as a young reporter in Nigeria, I know that Opong Weah sponsored the Leon Stars of Liberia with his personal finance.
Exactly, he did.
To most encounters they had with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. As a matter of fact, they almost nicked the 1998 World Cup.
Exactly, they almost.
Until Nigeria defeated Ghana to take the ticket.
No, Ghana beat Liberia in Monrovia. We were leading Nigeria by points. By points.
Yes.
If we had just drawn with Ghana, we were going to go. But Ghana beat Liberia in Monrovia.
Yes.
So Ghana, it made Nigeria to go.
So what we are saying now is that, do you think Opong Weah has a chance?
Right now, Joe, I can tell you with all sincerity, not because I'm a member of the party, Opong he's the candidate to beat. He's the candidate to beat. Because everywhere he goes right now, because, if you lose election twice in 12 years, unless you are not determined, in 12 years he's been preparing all the logistics that a political party will need to win. He's got everything on the ground. Liberia, unfortunately, 170 years old, the oldest independent republic in Africa, does not have a complete road network that will go from county to county, towns and villages. You go as far as central Liberia, and then you're done.
Okay, so you're an activist. Is it true that the local currency in Liberia right now, the means of transacting business in Liberia is US dollars, correct?
US dollar along with Liberian dollars, but both are used as legal tender for the country. There's Liberian dollar and there's a US dollar. Most businesses in Monrovia, the expatriates who have shops and other stuff, they charge in US dollars.
Okay. So, is that a good economic policy?
You know, to a certain extent, I say it is good, but at some point in time, there is a huge capital flight.
You are one of the supporters of openware. Do you think that kind of policy will change under openware?
We will make sure there is one currency, and that currency should be the Liberian currency, and the US currency should only be something that you can go to the bank and exchange if you want to do foreign trading.
I noticed that there's one serious thing, which is also very close, which we're very serious about politics in Africa. A lot of divisions about ethnic groups along ethnic lines, along racial lines. Is openware a uniter?
He is the single candidate who garners vote from every county. If you check the voting record of Liberia 2005, all the 15 counties in Liberia, he got vote from every county. He cuts against tribal lines. He cut across, I intended to say, he cut across tribal affiliation, tribal lines. Yeah. Opon is going to be a big unifier because the now generation of Liberians, it doesn't matter what tribe they are, they all flock behind him. So he's going to be a very good unifier.
After the bitterness of 12 years ago, you think he has a forgiving heart?
He has, look, I can tell you, there are some young men. Opon used his own resources during the 90s when there was a war. Liberia was dying. Liberia was crumbling. Warlords were carving the country into pieces. Opon was using his own money to take players from Liberia who were spread out in refugee camps, pay for their tryout in Europe with European teams. Some of those guys became his enemy. Some of them will go on radio now in Monrovia and talk nasty things about him. But he forgave them. He forgave them. He's bigger than that.
So, finally, Mr. Jerry Gbardy, will you be at home in Liberia during the elections?
I'm going.
You go?
I will be there, man. I will be there to make sure that Senator George Weah is the next president of Liberia, succeeding Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
That's very refreshing. I want to thank you for coming to this program. As usual, you are very outspoken. You hold on to your belief fastly, and you can't be wrong on that. So, but I wish you the best of luck, and also carry our message to George Openware. That's what hopefully we'll see him one day.
I will bring you to Monrovia. When he is president, I'll bring you to Monrovia. You and Victor, all of you guys will be in Monrovia. You're going to be the guest of Jerry Gbardy, the guest of the president of Liberia, President George Weah.
We'll look forward to that day. We wish George Openware, as a sportsman, as a sports reporter, he has been a very good, a favorite of mine, and also wishing the best in the elections. Jerry, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Joe.
With that, we sign off for today. Keep tuning on to Platform Media International Political Arena. Meet us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My name is Joe Ehizode. Say, have a good night. Bye-bye.